everybody, and welcome to Hornsea Beach. I thought I'd do something slightly different this week. I'm going to do something very local to where I come from. So I only live a few miles from here, so I thought I'd just do something simple. So what we're going to do is just do a couple of groin shots. I was expecting a little bit more action from the sea, but clearly we're not going to get that. High tide was about an hour and a half ago, so basically it's working its way out at the moment, so we're not going to get caught by any crazy waves. And it's pretty calm, so maybe it's calm because we're on the turn. But time at the moment is about 3 o'clock, so light isn't too bad. We've got a bit of cloud over the top, so it's going to be fairly flat light. So it's classical light and classical setup for some nice fine art images. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do a couple of fine art images of these groins, and I'm going to basically take you through the whole process of me actually taking the pictures, and then I'll put you into the computer and let you have a look at how we'll clean the images up there, and maybe lose the horizon and all that type of stuff, and that'll be us done. So without further ado, let's get cracked on. Let's get the camera kit out, and let's get set up to start taking some images. Okay, so we're going to be using my normal trusty steed, which is going to be the Nikon Z9, and that's going to be working in conjunction with the 24-120, which is my go-to lens. So I'm just going to stick that on there. Okay, what I've actually got here is a cage around the Z9, because I'll actually put a camera on the top of here to let you have a quick look at what I'm looking at through the camera lens. So that's the reason the cage is on there, and it's there for double tap, so it can actually do protection as well, and I can bolt other items on if I need to. But that's the reason I've got the cage, but it's not too bad. It works pretty well. Okay, so let's remove the lens cap, these are great stuff. These really nice and solid magnetic lens caps, so love them. So what we're going to do, we're going to put some filters on, and as if it appears by magic, pops back up with the filters. So this is going to be my filters. So basically I've got case filters, I've got case armor filters. So basically what you've got in there, I've got a set of circular neutral density filters. I've obviously got the holder, and I've got some graduated filters as well, which are actually going to be put on the front. So all magnetic, so really simple to use. So first things first, I'm going to just plonk this onto the tripod, so it's always there and it's always handy if I need it. So I'm just going to clip that on there. So let's plonk that on. That's on there now. So I'm now going to get my filter holder. Within the filter holder, I actually have a polarizing filter. So as you see that there, I can pop it out. That's my polarizing filter there, so you can see it. So I'm just going to clip it on. That sits in the back of the filter, and then obviously on the front of the filter I can put the neutral density filters in front of that. So I'm just going to clip that on. So that's all magnetic, nice and sorted out there. I've got the ring on the left, which I can use for the CPL, so I can turn that little bit there. Okay, so that's me done. I've got a CPL filter on there now, and looking at the light, it's quite bright, so I'm going to stick on a 10 stop first. So I'm just going to go down the bag. I've got 3, 6 and 10. So let's pull the 10 stop out, which should be written up as an ND 1000. So basically that will sit on the front like magic, and that's now a 10 stop in the camera. So, and to finish it all off, I always use a grad because it's so bright on the sky. And you can see I've got quite a soft grad, which is basically a 1.5, which I think is equivalent to about 5 stops. And then again, that will sit on the front, drop in there, really easy. I can lock it off if I want to, so it doesn't move. But in theory, the magnetics are that strong. They don't really move that much anyway. So there you go. So that's my camera ready set up now. That's my filters ready set up. All I need to do now is basically head down there and set up for my first picture. This looks quite nice, but I've just seen something through the corner of my eye, and I like the look of those groins over there with the height of the water. So just at the top. So I think that will look really nice with like a nice milky water. So we're going to pop down there and we're going to use that probably as our first shot, I think, as our first composition. So yeah, pretty good. Nice soft light, perfect, absolutely spot on. So let's get cracked on. Right, it's really windy, so I'm just going to put this microphone and test it out properly. So hopefully this will be working okay. I'm going to show you, I'm going to put you into camera now and let you have a quick look. We're in camera, that's good. Right, so once again, we're there. Let's line this up, get my horizon spot on. Let me do my polarizer on the sea. You can see it going nice and light there. Let's bring the polarizer into there. Let me check the grad. I'm going to bring the grad down just a little bit to there. And I think that's about it really. We're on 1.6 of a second f4. So I'm going to take it to my sweet spot, which is going to be f11. F11 there. ISO needs to be low, down to ISO 100 and low, and then I need to slow my shutter speed right down. Let's get this nice. So I'm looking at the histogram now, so literally I'm on to 30 seconds. Okay, and let's change my ISO. So F11 is where I want to be with the aperture. 30 seconds is where I want to be for the first exposure. And let's watch the histogram go up and down. So we're going to go for about there. I think that's about it there. Let's put the focus point onto here. So I need to do the delay. So I'm just going to click onto this bit here. Hopefully I'll stay with it. Let's go on to my delay, which is down here. Click onto there. Turn my delay on to 2 seconds. That's good. Back onto spot, AFS, autofocus spot on. I want to go down onto this one here. I want to find my spot mode, go across to pin, hit pin, and then that should be me okay. And then I've got a nice little tiny pin now, so when I click 0, see how small that is? Makes life a bit easier, and I can put it really onto these items here. It's only changed because I was out last night photographing puffins. Lock it onto there, and we're on. So that's it there, 30 seconds, F11, and I think we're not million. Let's go. That's off now, and that's going to expose. Let's have a look at the back of the camera again now. There, so that's looking okay for exposure wise, so we're pretty much spot on with that. And let's just check out, so come back out of that, and let's just check the focus point. So we're going to click into that nice and close. That looks okay, nice and sharp there again. And there you go. So that in theory is the first one in the bag. That was in the can first, so I'm happy with that. We'll move over to the next one. Let's do a 45-degree angle on that one. And I think, yeah, I do believe that this is the one where we can actually shoot between the two groins itself. So let's move on to the next one. So that's going to be up there, and we're off. That's good there. So we're exposing for a minute, and then hopefully that water will go to a more silky, smooth, milky effect, which will be really, really nice if we can get it there. As soon as I've done that one, I then want to go right in the middle of these two groins and shoot right down the pipe, and we'll see what we'll get from that one. So there's 2 shots here. Pretty much this is all we need to do. Just get these 2 absolutely spot on, and then we can go back and then we can process them and then have a look at that, what they're like in the computer. Oh, we're done. Let's go and have a look at this now. So what I'll do, I'll put this one up again now. And yes, so this time the water is much more smooth. So I'm going to bring you to in camera, let you have a quick peek at it. I'm just going to do a check on the exposure. So looking at there, exposure is absolutely spot on. Everything's within the tolerance ranges there. So exposure is good. Let's check the focus. And let's move it up to there. Looking nice and sharp around there. That's not too bad at all. There you go. Once again, I'm going to go up there. Let's check the basket. I think that's okay. Yep, that'll do. And then let's come back and then we'll move on to the next one. So we're going to come back to me now. That's good. And then what we're going to do now, we're going to basically move over a little bit more, and we're going to shoot hopefully between the 2 lines now. So we're going to go shoot right down over the top of the actual pipe, the top of the pipe. So let's move over here now. So I'm going to have to come down this area here and get on top of the pipe. Okay, so let's put that onto there. Right, we're on. Let's have a look at that now. Let's pull this back a little bit there. I'm liking the look of this. So I'm on the pipe. That's looking great. There, and I think that'll do, just there. Take the picture. Oh, I like that. That's quite nice, is that? I think what I could do is lose these things at the bottom, these little lugs just a touch. But I love it at the very end. The very end's really, really nice. So I could really do with being a bit higher up. So I'm going to put you to in camera, and we should be in camera now. So we're in playback on camera, and I'm just going to take you in there now. You have a quick peek at it. That is really nice just around there. I love the way that water is looking there. That's great. Everything's looking sharper there, much sharper. So zoom back in again. The light is nice. We've got nice, even, flat light. Up on the top there, you can see the flag is really, really windy, but we must have a little bit of a sheltered area here now. So we're not doing too bad. We'll see what this one brings. And I think as soon as I've done this one, I'm just going to pop down to the left. But for symmetry, this is the shot at the moment. And as I say, I'll put it up now as we speak. So as I say, this is only the symmetry. The only thing that's not very good on the symmetry is the actual pole leaning over. May do some skullduggery in that one later on and straighten it up. But we'll have a quick look at it. But the main thing is that it's straight down the middle. I should have nice soft water either side, and it should give it a nice pleasing effect basically. I'm going to put you back into camera again. So let's just do a check on the exposure. Exposure is absolutely spot on, with a little bit left at on the right hand side where the histogram is. So let's check on now, come back out of that. Let's check on the focus, click in. So that's nice, that's much better. Much happier with that. Very good. Let's zoom in actually, let's zoom in again and let's zoom in close and let's have a quick peek. Yeah, everything's nice and sharp from there onwards. So really happy with that one. That's an excellent picture, and I think that one is going to be done. I think that one's in the can. We're going to move to the left now. Let's come over here, and hopefully we won't have this issue with the sand in the water. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to basically set it in nice and solid in there so it doesn't move. Again, I'm actually seeing a nicer picture on the phone, so I'm actually going to work off the phone. So so let's go to in camera just to let you have a quick look at that. We're on, so that's good there. So let's zoom in there and we'll see what we can get from there. I quite like that. Let's have a look at my frame. So I'm going to put my horizontals on the horizon, my line on the horizon. So that's right in the middle this time. I don't mind that. I don't even mind this other one on the right hand side here. So if you look at there, go to the right, I don't even mind this little basket over here, so it's not too bad. So I think this is going to be my next shot. So I'm going to focus just here. Hopefully I'll get a nice focus point just there. It's there, it's got it. Let's just check and go in close. That's got it, and then come back out. That's nice. So that's pretty good to go. We got 60 seconds again there, and I think I'm going to give that a whirl, and then we'll see what comes out of that one. So let her rip and see what that one looks like. So I'm going to put this one up and let you have a look at it now while I actually have a look at it. That looks really nice. Nice soft water, a nice 45 degrees. So pretty much going into the middle of the picture there. So what I probably should do, change the angle so I get more of a 45 degrees. So I need to come over to the left to get the angle. Go to in camera. So 60 to the second f16. So exposure wise, I'm looking at the histograms just under, so I could probably do with bringing it down to probably f14. Let me find a new viewpoint. Press my OK button, which puts my focus point back in the middle. Let's find a spot just there where there's a little bit of contrast. Hit that, and then we've got it. And then I think that's much nicer. That's got a much better lead into it. Get my horizontals so they're doing the business, and then we're going to let that one rip again. So 60th of a second, f14. ISO 100, I think. So I've definitely got 2 or 3 in the bag. So I only need 2 pictures, and then when I get back to the office, I'll put them on the computer and I'll take you through my workflow to clean them up into like a nice fine art image and let you have a look at them that way. Bring you back into camera, and we're back in camera. So again, just going to get there. It's going to put the focus point onto here. That's good. Let's lock everything off. And again, we're going to go for rule of thirds, which is going to be about there, and rule of thirds, which is going to be about there. And I think that's about it, really. Let's just bring it down a little bit more like that. Let's just confirm focus. Let's just have a quick peek at it when we zoom into it. Nice and sharp. Love it. That is spot on there. Press the button, and we'll just see what comes from it now. So this is going to be a real nice long exposure basket on the end of a groin there. Let's have a look at that now. It's going to turn you off, and I'm going to bring you back again. So once again, I'm going to bring you back into camera. We're in there, so let's have a quick look at that. So I'm going to zoom in. That's nice and sharp there. Happy with that. It's lovely, that. Bring it down. Yes. And that's because I've put rocks underneath this sand. I was getting really worried whether it was my lens for a second then. Okay, and then come back. Back out of there, and we're out. Let's click on display, make sure my exposure is good. Exposure's all within the tolerance ranges there, so that's really nice there. Not much I can do with that, so that's pretty much it done. And what I may do, I may go to the left hand side and do the groins leading up to it, the other top of the groins leading up to it, because it looks quite nice. Let's check this one, guys. So again, I'm going to turn this off, come back onto play mode. That looks a bit better. Zoom in. Bingo, pin sharp. So again, And we're back in camera again, so we're back onto play mode. So again, I'm just going to check the focus point. That's better, that's much nicer, much sharper. Love it. And look at them groins there. Yeah, that'll do nicely. Very happy with them. And then all we've got to do now is just check the exposure. That's a nice picture. Come back to display, and everything is perfect for exposure wise. I love that. Okay guys, I think we're going to knock on the head now. It's actually starting to rain. My big issue is that anything on the sand is just kind of sinking, and I'm not getting sharp images. So I'm only getting sharp images when I'm on solid rocks. But never mind. I've got 2 or 3 images which are pin sharp, and that'll do for what I need to show you on the next stage. So like and subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. It'll help the channel. And then what we're going to do now, we're going to move on to the next process. Will be me and the computer, where I'll actually post-process these images and let you have a look at that. So basically, we're going to jump from here into the computer now. Right, we're back in the office now, and I'd just like, before we start, just thank you very much for staying with us this long. And if you like what you see, please feel free to like and subscribe. That will certainly help the channel out there. But we're going to get cracked on now. We're going to go on to the second stage of the video, which is going to be my post-processing fine art now. So I'm going to be using Photoshop and Lightroom. So let's get cracked into the computer now. So I think we're up and running now. So clicking over to the Lightroom. As you can see here now, we have the Lightroom catalog basically showing all the images that I've done today. I didn't take too many. I think if you look at 817 to, oh dear, where we go, 837. So there's only 20 images taken today, but we're only going to try and do 1, possibly 2 today. So let's have a look at this. So I've either got the option, I can either do this one here, or I can do this one. I fancy having a look at this one here. This could be an option, this one here. So I think we'll just do that as a nice little simple one to start with. So let's have a look at that. I'll take you through the process doing this one. So what I've done now, I've gone to a virtual copy on the right hand side here, and basically I've reset the whole picture. So I'm going to go into there. So press D, which takes you into the developer module. And before I start with any of these pictures, I'm going to fit to the screen, top left hand side there. That's good. So before I start with anything, I'm actually going to put my my crop in before we even start. So because I'm going to YouTube, I'm going to pick my crop, which is going to be a 16:9 crop. There you go. I'm going to try and run a little bit to the rule of thirds. So you can see this line here, so the bottom third there. I'm probably going to crop in just a little bit like that. I'll use the spirit level here just to make sure I've got my horizontals spot on. I wasn't far off because we do that in the camera as we go. That's spot on now. Let's move this up onto the rule of thirds there. I'm going to probably come in a little bit more to about there like that. I think that's going to be there. I think quite like that as a frame there. So that's not too bad there. So the whole thing is looking a bit light to me at the moment. So I'm just going to go with that. Let's have a look at my exposure. So we'll start probably from top to bottom really. I've done the crop. Let's move on to the bottom bit there. You can either do auto, which doesn't really do a great deal. So I'm going to undo that. So I'm actually going to bring the exposure down a little bit. Normally I'll give probably about 30 on the shadows. I'll bring the highlights just in a little bit there. I'll always put in about 20 or 30 contrast. I'm going to push the whites up there so I can press my command button, and then not my command button, my option button. I can push my whites up there and you can see where they're kicking in there like that. So I'm going to come back to there. So pretty much there, that's my histogram moved right up to the right hand side. I'm then going to look at my shadow detail, press the option button again, and then come back down to shadow detail. So just peeking on there. So that's my shadow detail. So I've got good blacks in there. Obviously the shadows detail helps pull that up a little bit there. I always like to put a bit of clarity in there. So I always stick in about 10 clarity just to get going. I'm not bothered about vibrance or saturation, not too much. I do like a bit of dehaze because there was a little bit of dehaze and it was raining on the time. So let's just move that just down a touch. We're only talking about 5 maximum on the dehaze, and that's brought in a bit of detail and a little bit of separation from what clouds were there, if you can see that. So moving down to the color mixer, I could, if I wanted to, pick up a few colors and enrich them a little bit more. So I can click this button here. I'm on saturation there, so it's in the color mixer. And all you got to do is put that little button there onto the red, and you can see it go right up there, so it'll pick up the reds and make them pop out a little bit more. I'm looking for a bit of aqua, and then it'll do the same for the blues. And then that's not too bad there. So that's giving me a little colour, and we'll pick up a bit of green as well. So there you go, the greens and the yellows are coming up there. So that's a little bit of colour sorted out there. Sharpening, I'll normally press again the option key, going to bring this in there. So I'm looking to see, I don't want it to sharpen any of the smooth stuff. So basically only needs to be the edges. So normally I take it up to about 50 or 60. There you go. And then obviously sharp I can push up to 100 then, or up to 90. And that's me done for sharpening. I'm not too fussed about denoise. And that's me pretty much ready to go. So the next stage then is to go to bring the sky in a little bit. So I'm going to use the linear grade. I'm not going to select the whole sky because I don't want it done as an even thing. I actually want to bring the sky down like I did with my graduated filter. So I'm going to use my linear gradient, bring that into there, and then just going to bring the sky in. Let's have a look at that there, bring it down. I'm just going to go halfway there. Now, what you do when you bring the sky in, sometimes if you've got trees or buildings or something like that, then you can actually clip on the subject. So you can clip subtract and then just hit subject, which is subject there, select subject. And then that then should basically select the subject. And you'll see there that it's actually missed a little bit between the basket. But that doesn't really matter. I'll show you how to get rid of that one later on pretty fast. So I'm happy enough with that one there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm obviously going to then bring down the exposure just a little bit. You don't want to push it too much because you don't want to get banding. And I want to give it a little bit of contrast. What I'm trying to do is get the separation with those things and a little bit of clarity in there. And that's pretty much it there. I want to do exactly the same thing at the bottom of the picture. So again, linear gradient. And I'm going to come from the bottom because it looks a bit too bright. So I want people's eyes to go into the center of the photograph. So again, nothing to subtract on this one. Find my exposure, and I'm going to bring it in about there. And I think that's it there. If you go too far, it looks dirty. So, and again, a little bit of contrast on there. And that is as much as I need to do in Lightroom. There's nothing else there. If you look up here, there's a grolly, but I'll take that out in Photoshop, which is a lot faster. So basically, I'm going to now export. So basically what I would normally do is press Command and E, and then what that will then do will then take the picture over into Photoshop. So it's now spinning. So it's now going to go across into Photoshop. So let me find the Photoshop back panel, and it should pop up in a second. There it is. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to make the image smaller. I'm going to make it for the size, image size. I'm going to take it to 3840. And that's basically my 4K resolution size, and it's plenty big enough. There you go. So that's pretty good there. That's nice and large. Okay. So I'm going to use going from the left hand side again. So I'm just going to go down there quickly. I've done the crop, and I basically want to just remove. I'm going to use this tool, not the remove tool. I'm going to use the healing brush. Make that a bit smaller. And I'm just going to have a quick cleanup, which shouldn't take too long. I've got a grolly there, so we just do not the healing brush. I think I'll try the new one, which is the remove tool. I think is that one now. Let's have a look. There you go, that's the one, and that should do. And that's removing that nicely. There's a couple of little dots on there. Okay, and going across quickly. Nothing too much. So the sensor's fairly clean. I don't think I've got anything else that's lurking around there. There's a little dot there, but I'm not too fussed about that. And I think that is it. I'm leaving the bird on there. I don't mind. Don't mind. Some people probably want to take it out. There's a little yellow, tiny yellow thing there, which I'm just going to get rid of that. There you go. And that's me. So that's my image cleaned up so far. Okay, so what I want to do now is save that as a straight picture. So here we go. File, save as, to the desktop as a picture like that, and that's that one done. Okay, and then what I'm going to try and do is blend the sky. So what I would normally do at this stage now, I would then go to select and go down to, first thing I do is select the subject, which is going to be these items here. and it's got that only, so that's fine. So I've selected it there. I'm actually going to press Command J, which is copy and paste at the same time. So I'll turn the main picture off and you can see it there. So what I need to do is select these other items now. So what you can do then is use this rectangle tool here, which is called, what's it called? The rectangle marquee tool. I'm going to basically select the area where they are. So what I'll do instead, I'm going to go Command J. So if you look at that, I've actually just selected the whole area. So I'm just going to pick that bit there and then I'm going to click select subject within that area. And then hopefully it'll only pick up the area that's in there. And that should have done the job. It's working on it. There you go. So what it's done there, it's got the main of them. So the only thing it hasn't got is this one here and this one here. So I'm actually going to expand that. I'm going to go across this little tool here. It's not the one I want the one which is next to there. So let's see if I can, quick selection tool. So I'm going to go into this little bit here. I'm going to zoom in. There we go. Let's just come into this area. Do a quick selection on that. There we go. That's that one done. And a quick selection on that. It's obviously got the bird. So they're all now selected and I can now click Command J, which again is copy and paste. So to prove the point that we've got them all, what I'll do now is turn the background layer off, turn off the layer that I copied them from, and there they all are now. So I've got the bird, there we go, nice and sharp, ready to be used in my next process. So I'm going to come back out there, and what I'll do is get rid of this one here, which I don't need. Okay, so the next thing to do now is to select the sky. So again, background layer and go to select sky. Okay, the sky has been selected. That's good. And once again, Command J, which is going to give me copy and paste. And as you'll see, turn the other layers off and you can see that's the sky there. So rather than doing a quick fill, I find it just as fast to get the clone tool, the clone stamp, hit that a little bit bigger like that, and then literally just to the right, and then just go in there, and it doesn't take 2 ticks just to give that a quick blast. Okay, and I think we're about there, give or take. Right, that's the sky done. So what I want to do now, I actually want to extend the sky probably down this area. So basically I'm looking at there, I need to bring the sky down to this area down here. So I'm going to get the marquee tool, I'm probably going to go to about here, and then I'm going to come past these items down here. There we go. And that's what I want to do there. So I'm turning off the main thing. So the only tool I'm actually looking at, the only layer I'm looking at is the sky layer. I'm now going to go into edit and I'm going to come to content aware fill. Hit that. What that should do is give you some greens of what it's going to try and pick, and then return on that. I'll go down to the bottom right hand side and go OK. And it's already made the sky extension down there, which is brilliant. So basically we've got the top bit here, layer 4, and then the layer 4 copy. So I'm going to click those two together. I'm going to merge them. So come down here, come down to merge layers, and deselect. Okay, and then I'm going to bring the background layer in. So turn the top layer off, background layer down. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to bring in the other items which are there, and then I'm going to go to my extended sky. I'm going to put a mask on that. I'm then going to use this gradient tool, click on that, and then I'm just going to basically come from just above there and take it up until I see the sky coming in. So bring it down below the sky and coming back, and there, that's it. Let me have a zoom in. I'm looking to see if I can find it, so just to show you that it's there. So okay, I've lost my, there it is. I'm just going to show you there. So if you look, come up, there's the sky, bring it down, and there. Bring it back. I can't see anything else there. And that is that. So that's nicely done there. As you can see, by clicking these and turning these off, they were off the original layer at the bottom because I copied and pasted these two on there. It's done that. So I'm now going to flatten that. And I'm now going to save that file, save as no Horizon. Jolly good. To the desktop. I'm going to go back into camera raw. So that's basically Shift Command A, and then I'm just going to do a bit of tweaking there. So once again, I'm just going to check my light there. So the light's good. So what I want to do is put a circular filter around it. I want to do like a grad around it. So I'm going to do this radiant brush. Click on to create radiant guide. There we go. I'm going to take that around there. I'm going to bring that into there. And then what I'll do then is invert the mask, and then I'm going to go into exposure, bring it back a little bit, just to do a gentle bit into there like that. And that is pretty much it now for a nice easygoing fine art type image. So I'm going to return that now, go OK. And I think that's pretty much there. I can see a little bit of a stain there, where I may have made the mistake when I did the clone tool. But we can clean that up again. Let's just do another one, see if I can get rid of that. Just a bit of a tweak. There we go. Am I making it worse? I don't really know. I don't think so. So there we go. So it's just so it doesn't catch your eye. And there it is. That's my first image. And save that. Right, if you want to do a half color, it's exactly the same thing there. So what I would do now is basically select the subjects again. So quickly select subject. There we go. And once again, I'm just going to press Command J. Okay, and then I'll just, rather than hassling around here, I'll just razzle around with these ones here because this is pretty fast. Okay, let's go quickly over here rather than going through the other system. You can do it several different ways. So I'm doing this the old-fashioned way now, just to show you there's several different ways of doing this. So, and again, all we're doing is just selecting the old-fashioned way, which is what I actually did on the OC beach huts. I did it this way before I learned how to do it the other way. So let's have a look at that there. That's good. So, and again, I'm going to go Command J on that. Just done that really quickly. Come back out there, and then what I want to do now is going to go pick up that layer there. I'm going to go hover over the Photoshop adjustment layers. So if I come over here now, you'll see it go like that. So it goes to black and white there. Take it away. Back to color. Back to black and white. And if you notice the colors above, so if I turn the top layers off, now go to black and white, you have a straight black and white there. So I'm going to click on that, and we've got a nice black and white layer there. So let me flatten that, just that little bit there. Okay, I'm going to flatten that. I can merge it actually. It's probably faster to merge it. Merge layers. There you go, merge it. There's several different ways of doing exactly the same thing in Photoshop. Click these two back on again, and then you see that. And then what I'll do, I'm going to merge these two together. There we go. And then I'm going to take their opacity down to about 40%. There we go. Now, the only thing I find now with that is that it's make the detail in the ground go really dark. So while I've got this selection, I'm actually going to go into back into Camera Raw and just use the shadow tool and pull the detail in the shadow tool. So you can see it coming back out there now, and then go OK. And that should lift that up there. Nicely done. And then once again, flatten that and save as a halftone to the desktop. There we go. Okay, so there you go. So that's a half color from that same image there. Okay, so we've just done the first half color, and I don't really like the sky. Is very, very weak, and there's not much about the sky, to tell the truth. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into the original, open the first picture that's saved, which has got the horizon in there. So we're going to do exactly the same, except this time I'm going to use my clouds and try and get a bit more about the picture. So it's going to go through the same process pretty fast now. So let's go back into there quickly. Let's find my Photoshop bits and bobs. And here we go. So literally here we go. So we're going to go into select subject again. And I'm going to go Apple Q, Command Q. That's that bit selected. Let me just quickly select this area on the picture like we did before. Okay, let's click onto that. Apple Command J again, and then go for select subject within that little area alone. That should then pick it up. And it has done, it's picked all of them apart from a couple like it did last time. So we'll zoom in, see which ones it didn't pick up on, which was basically that one there and that one there. There we go, that's good. Come back out and let's go Command J again. So that's been copy and paste. Let's take away the square box, so I don't need that anymore. So what I've got now, turn them off, I've got that bit there and I've got there. So instead of actually selecting the sky again, what I'm going to do is going to bring in one of my skies. So, and you can do this with your skies. So I've got some old clouds, and this is one from if you look down here, this is from the Dovercourt Lighthouse when I did that video there. So rather than go through all the hassle and all that, I've actually taken away all this foreground and these groins and all that type of stuff. And then I've just made a simple little black and white sky, which is here. There you go. And I bring it in large so I can move it around and do my bits on it. So what I'm going to do now is, there's my sky. So it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to select all, and I copy. Going to paste it on top of there. It's a different profile, but it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to get rid of that. I don't need any more. So we're now into there. Let's make this really small. It looks a bit odd at the moment. Let's bring this into here, and let's bring my let's change the image size of the actual clouds. So I can, what sometimes works actually, if you just let's bring it in and just make it fit the actual picture, because I'm not bothered about stretching it. It doesn't really matter. There we go. And let's take that up to there, and then bring that into there. So that's good there. So the horizon's about here, which is about right. So we're going to put that to there, and then that's my cloud. So I wanted the highlight to be highlighting this groin and the basket on the top, you see. And then that's okay. I'm going to make it a little bit opaque so I can see where it is. So literally I need to be doing my gradient from here to here. So what I'm going to do now is going to go into there. I'm going to make a mask on that cloud, bring in my gradient layer, which is here, and I'm going to bring it just underneath here, and I'm going to take that up to there. That's too much. Bring it down to about there, I think. And what I'll do before going further is take the 74%, make it 100%. Let's go in close so I can see it. And then what I'll do there is I'm going to see if I can find this. I'm going to move this up and down. So if you watch the sky, just bring it into there. That's it there. And that is it there. That's nice. That's lovely there. Go in close. Make sure that it's not pushing it up and bring it back. There it is. Bring it back there so you can't see it. So that is pretty much it. That's done. Again, if it interferes with any of these, I can use my rubber tool, which is this one here, and then I can clean up there. But actually this is absolutely spot on. So that's it. That's pretty much done. The only thing I forgot to do, I forgot to make the background, this background layer black and white. So I need to just click onto that. There you go. It's made it black and white now. So let's put that one in. And let's make this into black and white. Merge that down to black and white layer only. And there we go. So that is it. The only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to flatten that. Before I do that, I'm going to try and turn them down a little bit. So I'm going to merge these two together. And then I'm going to just take the opacity out of them. So merge layers. Take the opacity down to about 50. Oh, don't do that. Oh, it's because the sky's there, that's why, because it would normally be behind. So I'll leave that as it is there for now. So if I turn that off, and if I took it down to 50 now, that would look okay, which it would, yeah. But it wouldn't separate from there. So I can do it again the other way. So I can flatten that again. That looks pretty cool. little bit bright down here. So again, I'm going to go into camera raw. Let's bring the gradient tool in back into play again. So pick up the linear gradient, and that's it there, and then bring that up from the bottom. So that's lovely there. And what I need to do is just going to bring that in so the eye goes to the middle a bit more. That's not too much. That's it. Put a bit of contrast in there. I need to make it a bit gritty. There we go. That's it there. And I think I'm going to make another mask and then put the radial tool on there. I'm going to make it smaller. Put the whole radial tool around the whole lot of it. There you go. Bring it in a little bit like that. Okay, it's going to make a nice little vignette. Bring it into there. That's not too bad. And about there, I think. Make it a bit smaller. So it's actually doing some of it. There we go. That's a bit softer like that. That's not bad there. There we go. So what we're going to do now is invert that and get the exposure and then bring it down a bit more. And you can see it just kicking in there, probably about there. That's it. And that is really nice there now. I'm going to go okay. It's probably still a little bright in there, so I'm going to use another gradient tool. Going to keep plugging away at it. So, but before I do, let's bring the exposure down just a little bit. That's not too bad. I'm going to look at dehaze. That does a nice little job sometimes, but be gentle with dehaze. It's really strong. There you go. That's it. That's really bringing that in now. So that's starting to work really well, and a little bit of clarity. There you go. Now we're getting a bit of punch there. That's nice. And then obviously I need to go to the light area and lift the shadow detail up. There we go. Just a little bit in the shadow detail. And I think that's not a million miles away. So that's me done there. I'm going to flatten that. And I think that looks much nicer than the original one. So I'm going to save that as file, save as, groin, my cloud. Save that to the desktop. So that's what you need to do, is get yourself some favorite clouds, just take a picture of them, and then you can use them on anything really, as long as you got the option to do your selection mode. That's all you need to do. So I think that's it there. Let's me have a look on the desktop. I want to have a look at them both. Bring that one down to there. Let's have a look at the one that's not. Get rid of the clouds. Okay. There's that one there, and that one there, the additional. Bring that down. There we go, and again. So what we've got here now is colour, halftone, and the difference with my clouds in there. It's chalk and cheese, isn't it, really? So much different there, isn't it? So there you go. So that's that done. That's another little fine art done. Really, really simple little fine art. I think we're out of time. So for now, that'll have to do. I'll have to do another one for you. I'm sure you'll like to pick a few more of these in the future, and we'll do some more, and you can pick up my tips and tricks as we go along. I think there was, I think that's about it really. So thanks very much for staying with us, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.